something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed? Okay. It was just after 10 p.m. and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a huge thump noise from outside the window. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica, only I saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming.
This witness testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown.
If that's the case, there is very little the prosecution need add. All that's left to do is explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night. Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wished to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. A man must know the proper timing of things, Mr. Felix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did.
Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness testimony?
In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened.
Very well. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
I mean, she uses fool a lot. You said that you were resting in your bed? One would thus assume that you turned the lights in your room off, right? That's correct. But there are safety lights around the outside of the lodging house. It's so bright, sometimes it makes it hard to sleep.
If that's the case, wouldn't it be a good idea to just close some curtains?
I never really thought that. I guess it means I am off to buy some curtains.
Oh, sometimes I make myself useful in these chambers.
Ow! The witness will proceed with his testimony. Your room is on the 3rd floor, right? Yes. And you said that you were resting in bed. That is correct. But you were still able to hear the sound from outside? I was indeed. Pressing acro doesn't seem to get results. But maybe something contradictory to was contradictory to what he said just now. Is it though? I mean, nope, not this one.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. Until I can find a clear contradiction, I should tread lightly. She's just like, ready with the whip. Are you sure it was a human being? It could have been a mannequin, or perhaps a large action figure. Well, setting aside the possibility of a mannequin, an action figure is a plausible. You have no need to mince words with Mr. Phoenix Wright. Testify to the truth and only the truth, just as if it were there with you that night. I believe it was a human. Damn. I just strengthened his testimony. I wonder if Acro's statement jive with the facts. There's nothing wrong quite yet.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, she is ready. From behind. The light in your room was turned off then, right? That's true. I was going to bed after all. So, with the lights off, you were still clearly able to see a human fly by your window. The safety lights lit up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front.
Did you see any of the other symbols?
I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. The more I press him, the less result I seem to get. But maybe there was something fishy about his latest bit of testimony. Do we have a... There is a contradiction, actually. There is a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given. If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
You claim to have seen the exact same thing that Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that? Sorry? What do you mean? The silk hat. What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window. Well, you should have tried looking down out your window that night. That would have been quite difficult, considering in the state I'm in. Just looking outside the window was a tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame, because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene. That's the ringmaster's hat, right? Afraid not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? I was saying that Max has 2 silk hats.
No. This is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica, which means, Acro, that you've been fibbling on the stack.
Order! Order!
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick? Well, I opened my big mouth, and now I have to back it up.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What would caused this? What could have caused this witness to commit perjury in this court today?
It's a little bit early to say Acro is the culprit. At the same time, though, I mean, we suspect Acro, but I'd say it's a bit early to move on Acro just yet. At the same time, though, we have no reason to believe that Acro has a grudge against Max. And the fact that if we can't even say that he's dreaming. So the only way we can really do this is like to actually take the step to accuse him. So let's do so. Your Honor, on this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself. On this occasion?
Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of?
Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry.
Mr. Wright, are you serious?
Deadly serious, Your Honor. I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab an audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book.
Really?
If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary.
He's staying rather calm and collected.
Poke, poke, poke. How dare you accuse Master? Poke, poke, poke.
Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense accusation?
I don't really need to say a thing, do I?
What do you mean?
Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand by myself, let alone leave the lodging house.
That is true.
I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of murder of all things. See, even a sliver of common sense makes it clear that this accusation is ludicrous. See that, Mr. Phoenix Wright? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well. I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice.
What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice?
I mean, this is where we're going for this.
Of course he did.
It's impossible for Acro to murder in this case. If that's the case, then it's natural to consider for one to consider possible accomplices. No, nothing yet. Yet, Mina. Hey. She's too busy with the fire emblem. She can't hear me.
You don't say. Not good, not good. This isn't going to end well.
Don't tell me you think you're going to get off this easily. What? You must not have heard the sound that came just now. Maybe it wasn't clear enough. It's the sound of you falling into your own trap. It can be hard to notice sometimes.
Mr. Wright, it seems that you would be stopping at Acro, but will be making other accusations. If Acro did not have an accomplice, things are not looking good for you.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very well, let's continue. Who, perchance, would happen to be Acro's accomplice?
I mean, the only thing that we can think of is, like, none of these would actually do it. So... the evidence points towards Monkey.
You don't say!
Uh-oh, this is suddenly looking very, very bad. Don't tell me you think you're going to get off this easily. What? Oh, did you hear that? Hear what? The sound of you getting caught in your own trap. What a splendid accomplice. I'm sure this accusation is built on solid foundation. Foundation?
Yes, Mr. Wright.
I guess not then. Well, maybe I do. I mean... I don't think this is where we're going, but... I mean... it's the only way I can think that this is just ass pulls all the way. Yeah, I think this is it.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor? Nope, I guess not. Now would be fine, pigs. I guess I did. You know, that happens sometimes, But you know what, I'm just going to say screw it, because I want to get this case over with, because I hate this case. So I'm gonna cheat. I just want to get this over with. Well, I guess not then. Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. Not this time, Miss Von Karma. What? You're not going to sucker me into this one.
What you're blabbering about, Mr. Wright?
There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself.
Order! Order! What are you getting at?
Way to keep them on their toes, Nick. Now I'm going to have to prove how how this all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry. I just need this salt. I seriously need this salt. Can you do it, Nick? Can I really do that? I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, we're doomed. Alright, then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright. If this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right?
Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling?
Well, he was up here. He was obviously here this entire time.
That's Acro's room.
Pretty simple, eh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can only be one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster.
What? Are you nuts? What say you, Mr. Dingling?
It's an interesting theory. That's it? Considering what you just proposed is impossible, yes, that's it.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he's in a wheelchair, there's no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
You got a point. It seems that you have forgotten once again, Mr. Wright, Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Most said that he saw Max, didn't he? But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? What's the next course of this legal buffet? Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... She's right. I can't mess up here. I gotta give this some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster, and he did it while he was in his room, no doubt about it.
Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingley committed a crime, Mr. Wright.
I'm going to present some evidence.
So, what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the murder against Mr. Russell Berry?
This thing.
What is that? A picture?
It's indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture.
The bust?
It's a quite large bust, and because it's life-size, it's also very, very heavy. Not for this one. Actually, I do have it, but I'm not reading it. I just wanted to get this case over with because this case is just, it's torture. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Ah! See? This is how Acra was able to kill a ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust.
Order! Order! So you say the bust fell onto the ringmaster?
A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
How can you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust.
Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges?
Well, Acro's at a loss of words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting closer to truth. Well, Acro.
You can— Ow! I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself. Testimony, you say?
From Karma. She's just using this testimony as a ruse to stall for time. There's absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond. The defense objection is overruled.
Why can't they see things my way once in a while?
Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him. Thank you.
Ah, that woman will sink to any low to win a case.
I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to know the location of the ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think?
I have no doubts in regards to this witness testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention, he would not have known the location of the ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That is what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright?
I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination. He is simply stalling. It's shameful, really. I can't let her get to me. I gotta focus. Okay, so we actually know this is actually pretty simple because he was slumped over this box, so... Acro, you didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already know ahead of time. Excuse me. Where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I might add. Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence? But I did such a good job at hinting.
Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright.
Maybe I should take a look at this. But the ringmaster didn't know there was pepper inside this box. The key point here is this wooden box.
The same wooden box that the witness was hunched over?
The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here?
Who?
When Bell and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box, which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime.
I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense.
The moment that the bus came falling down was exactly the same moment when the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions are now crystal clear.
You mean, if the bus were to fall upon the point marked by the wooden box,
there would be no way that it would miss the head of the victim.
No. Order! This is unbelievable.
Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now just gotta keep going, and there's only one way to go from here, forward.
So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene?
It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down.
Ow! Allow me to whip some sense into you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That's why the box was so especially made.
Specially made?
Indeed, it had the most peculiar feature. The box had a remarkable weight.
Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds.
Just to lift this wooden box would have required...
Oh, I see. One would have to squat down, then lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say?
What, Mina? Do I need to find like some sort of like thing to hold up here? Clued?
How vulgar!
That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large.
The box has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it?
That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means, no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place.
Fool!
Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills.
Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza?
Mr. Wright might have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing.
What?
Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Mac's bust? Let's go for I forget. I kind of forget.
Nick,
don't tell me you're losing your memory already. No. Let's not get carried away. Hey, stick out your head a little. I got just a thing, a Maya kick.
Enough of that. No horseplay in this courtroom, and no kicking the defense attorney. According to the court record, the bus disappeared from the cafeteria.
I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not have possibly left the lodging house by myself. That means you understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how could I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? Well, Maya just put it out just quite simply there.
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that.
Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice.